Welcome back to the Tool Crib. Well, my Gerber EAB Lite has been officially retired. I have carried this particular utility blade folder for several years now. And when it first came out, the original EAB, I think I had one of those as well. I don't know what ended up happening to it, if I lost it or if I gave it away, but at any rate, I've carried this style pretty much since they came to the market. And the EAB Lite has served me very, very well. Now, with the EAB Lite, it is a liner locked utility blade. It is two-handed opening. It folds down into a nice, pretty decent compact design. One thing that I didn't necessarily care for with the EAB Lite is the fact that it had this ultra wide clip. It's something that uh, I just never have liked that clip on there, but it works well and it's very rugged. So it worked great on the job site. And most of the time on the job site, I would have this with me, say 80–90% of the time. But away from work, I often found that I would leave it on the dresser. I just wouldn't carry it with me after hours because, first of all, it has more of an industrial feel. Now, that being said, I EDC the Leatherman Surge, and the Leatherman Surge is more of that industrial feel. So why is that an issue? Well, the Surge is just so useful to me that I just simply will not leave it behind. It's with me constantly. And with this one I could get away from because I have a knife blade where I didn't necessarily need it. It was more convenient when I had it on me, but because it's more of a rugged looking utility blade holder, I just left it behind more often than not away from work. So this one, again, liner locked, opens up to a very decent profile. I have pretty large hands, and even for me, this is a little bit short. And maybe that's part of the reason why I gravitated so much, or why I like the TiRant Razor V2 so much, is because it is longer. It's one of the many things that I like about it. But this particular Gerber has served me for a very, very long time. However, like I've mentioned before, it is now in retirement. Because once I picked up this one, this is like a game changer for me in utility blade holders. Now, I know a lot of people, especially if you're looking for something that's a little bit more stylish, something that, you're not blue collar, or for those that are blue collar, when you're off the job, you want something, your EDC, to be a little bit more streamlined. This one fits the bill for that because of the titanium design, the titanium frame, the slender profile of this particular knife. I ended up putting in Linux Gold blades, which are exceptional blades for this. It fit perfectly. So that's part of the reason. The other things with this one, I love being able to pull this thing out of my pocket in an instant with that flipper and the ball bearing pivot on here. The action is so incredibly smooth. It's a joy to use it, first of all. And because it is more of a streamlined tool, a better looking tool, I have no problem carrying this after hours as well. Now, when you're talking about price, this is a big issue because the Gerber EAB Lite is, I won't say cheap because it's not cheaply made, but it's inexpensive. It's retails for about $15, but you can constantly find them on sale for a lot cheaper than that. I think the retail was $15. I can't remember for sure. It's been so long since I had to buy one, so really inexpensive for a utility blade folder. Where this particular one runs about $60, and this was the biggest thing for me before purchasing it because it felt like it was an excessive amount of money for something so simple. But I think I can tell you now that I wouldn't even blink to pay for another one. If something were to happen to this one, if I lost it, got stolen from me, whatever, in an instant, I would buy another one. I wouldn't even think twice about it. And it's due to all those things that I mentioned: the slimness and profile, the action of the blade, the materials that are used in it, the longer handle. For me, with larger hands, it instills more confidence when using this particular tool. I like the exchange. I wish it was a little easier to operate. This one's pretty simple, and the only thing that could really make this one better for me is if it had on-blade storage. And apart from that, though, it's near perfection for me. This is really, it has gone into my full-time EDC, both at work and away from work. I can't praise this thing enough. And if you're on the fence about getting one of these, I think if you're into knives, you like knives, and you're especially looking for the right utility blade folder, you definitely want to try this one out because it is an exceptionally good product. Well, I'm going to lube this one up. I use KPL. So they recommend putting a drop of your favorite knife pivot lubrication in there about once a week. I haven't done it since I got it, so I've noticed that the action is just not quite as crisp as it was originally. So I'm going to put a dab of KPL in there. We get the action back where we like it, and it's going right back in my pocket. So to lubricate this knife up, couldn't be simpler. We'll just close it up so we get good access down there to the bearing. We'll get a dab of KPL on either side of the bearing and let that oil settle in there. And then we'll work the pivot a little bit so that we get that lubricant spread around on that ball bearing. And you can already feel the action is much better than what it was just a few seconds ago. So that's pretty much it. It's really easy to maintain. Now, if you need to, you can, and they provide the wrenches, by the way, to dismantle this. So if you need to do a deep clean on this one, you definitely have all the tools available that come with the knife itself. So it's one of those products that I just cannot recommend enough. The TiRant Razor V2 is definitely one of my mainstay tools now. My name is Ben. You've been watching the Texas Tool Crib. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next one.